From VTV Channel 6 Studios in downtown Vernal, this is Local Point with your host, Chris Piner.
Welcome to this week's edition of Local Point. On today's show, we'll give you a preview of the Uinta Basin Christian Academy's Christmas pageant. Joining me in the studio is School Administrator Teresa Brook and Junior High Teacher Chris Christiansen. Welcome, you two.
Thank you for having us,
Well,
Chris.
it's our pleasure, especially when we're talking about a production. You know I love theater.
Yes, you do, and we enjoy coming to see your productions.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes.
We have one coming up too. But it's not at the same time. We won't cross over so people can see both.
Terrific.
Let's talk about yours though today.
All right.
Now, what is it? I said a Christmas pageant.
Yes, and you're exactly right. It's called The Best Christmas Pageant Ever. It is based on the book by Barbara Robinson.
I was going to say, aren't you being a little boastful there?
Well, you know what? I'm encouraging your friends and family and folks to come because it's going to be the best
Christmas pageant
That's
ever.
correct. That's
That's
correct.
the spirit. Very good.
That's right.
And it's based on the book. I started to cut you off there. Go ahead and tell me.
Well, it's based on the story by Barbara Robinson. She published it back in 1972. And the best Christmas pageant ever just takes place, it could be modern day America. It could be set in a setting just like we are here in Vernal, Utah. It has a group of unruly young people that belong to a mom in a single home. She's a single mom, and she works 2 shifts at the shoe factory, so she doesn't have time to spend with her children. And they come to church just in time to hear about the Christmas pageant, and unfortunately they fill all the lead roles without not knowing anything about the Christmas story from the Bible.
Right.
So.
Now, I know that I read this book back
Yes.
when I was in elementary school, so just remind our viewers, because I'll bet a lot of people are familiar with this great story, the family, what are they called again, the family name?
The Herdmans?
They're the Herdmans.
Yes.
Yes, so that ought to ring a bell for you.
And there are 6 of them. There's Ralph, Imogene, Leroy, Ollie, Claude,
And Gladys.
and Gladys.
And they take over the Christmas pageant.
They do.
Now, I didn't know this was a play. I knew it was a book. So we get to see this all in action.
That's correct. Actually, the best Christmas pageant ever is actually a play within a play. And so when the audience comes, they will see a play, and yet they will see the Christmas story performed by the Herdman family and other children from
Now,
the church.
who is directing this play?
I am directing the play.
Who is assistant directing this play?
Chris.
What a coincidence we should have both of you here today.
Aren't you lucky to have both of us here? Yes.
Is this a large cast that you're working with?
Well, actually, there are 28 speaking roles in the play, and there are about 14 non-speaking roles. But because we're a small school, Chris, what we do is we open it up to our student body. At the academy, we have approximately 140 students. And so we will have students ranging from 8 years old, and I believe our oldest student is 15.
Now, is this mainly a student production? Do you have any adults in this show?
Not this year.
But other years.
We have in the past.
Right.
Actually, we had adults in the show in the past just because we did not have enough students in the whole school to have, that could speak and act, that could fill those adult roles.
Right, right.
So,
Now, this is a comedy,
it is.
but it's got a good Christmas message.
It
Yes.
does.
It really does.
So come prepared to laugh, in other words. We're going to have a good evening here. Yes?
Yes.
We are going to have a delightful evening.
Now, when is this evening? Let's just throw that out there real quick.
Chris?
It will be Thursday and Friday, the 11th and 12th of December at 7 o'clock, and then Saturday the 13th at 2 o'clock.
3 performances.
Yes.
And what does it take to get a ticket?
Well,
Show up.
show up at the door. We actually do not charge. We have never charged for any of our productions, any kind of a fee, but we will take a free will offering. And Chris, you know, having done theater, there's a lot of money that goes into a production.
Oh, yes.
But we just take a free will offering. We just ask if people come and they feel blessed from having been there at the show, that they just come.
Leave an
and
offering.
That's correct.
All right, we'll talk a little bit more about some of those details and the show in just a moment. We'll be right back with more information on the Uinta Basin Christian Academy's Christmas pageant, the best Christmas pageant ever, after this message from Ashley Regional Medical Center.
Ashley Regional Medical Center supports the local community, from the Uinta High sports programs to the Relay for Life and the Dinosaur Roundup Rodeo. We work together to make our community a healthy and beneficial place to live.
Quality care with a personal touch. Ashley Regional Medical Center.
From VTV Channel 6 Studios in downtown Vernal, this is Local Point with your host, Chris Piner.
Welcome back. I'm joined in the studio today by Uinta Basin Christian Academy Administrator Teresa Brook and junior high teacher Chris Christiansen, and we've been talking about the best Christmas pageant ever.
That's correct.
Yes, which is the production that you're putting on this year at the Academy.
That's correct.
Tell me
Chris.
again the dates.
We have 3 performances, Thursday and Friday, December 11th and 12th at 7 p.m. at Vernal Christian Church. And then we have a Saturday matinee performance at 2 o'clock at Vernal Christian Church as well.
All right. Now, I asked about tickets before, and you said something about an offering. What does that mean?
It just means that we have some sort of decorated bowl or bucket, and as people are leaving, if they feel that they would like to give something for the performance, some
Right.
people feel really uplifted afterwards or just entertained, and
Yeah.
whatever they
a
want
way
to put
to
in.
say this was worth this amount of money and leave it there if they feel like that. That's a great
Yes.
way of doing it.
Yes,
I
and
imagine most people would too.
well, we hope so by the time they leave. We hope they feel blessed.
Yes.
But, you know, Chris, even though we are a church school, if you will, we still have to pay royalties, and so we do have to cover some costs.
Well, yes, I was going to ask about that. Now,
Yes.
I know I'm aware that royalties alone are very expensive,
They
but you
can
have
be.
costumes and you have makeup and you have props and scenery to build and all kinds of things.
Well, we are pretty simple. It's a simple play, but when you come to see it, it's still delightful. I think it will warm your heart.
And regardless, I know, as humble as you're being, that it does cost a lot of money. And it's probably easier for me to ask the viewers to be generous when they come to see it. But now, this is not the first production that you've done. You've done several of these before.
We have. Actually, 5 years ago, we did the best Christmas pageant ever. 5 years ago. That was our first production.
How do the people of that production feel when you say now that this one is the best ever?
Well, you know, Chris, those folks were really young at the time.
Some of them are in this one too, probably.
Well, actually, they were, but they might have been only 5 or 6 years old at the time.
They're going along with it. We got
They
to
are.
improve with time.
They
Now this
are.
one's the best ever.
This is the best. And then following the best Christmas pageant ever, we did A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, It's a Wonderful Life. We've done The Other Wise Man, and then last year we did an original composition. It was called The Heretofore Never Told Tale of the Second Christmas.
Oh,
And
wow.
that was actually a delightful show. And
Well,
Mrs.
it's
Christiansen
impressive
was
that you
actually...
could even remember the name of that. It's a
She-
great title.
Yes, Mrs. Christiansen was in that show last year.
Yes,
So
I
that
was.
was fun. We had some adults last year be in that production. so-
All right, now as director and co-director of this one, this is only the beginning, right? You've got something else coming up even. After Christmas, what's happening?
We do.
Well, I have asked since last year if we could do AmeriKids again. We did it in February the first year. It has somewhat of a patriotic theme to it. So we're going to start practicing it right after the first of the year, and we haven't set a date yet, but we're looking at the end of February, first part of March.
Well, I'm always supportive of anyone who brings the arts to our little community. And I wish you well with your production.
Thank you.
And I just might walk over. You know, I live right there.
Chris, you need to come.
I
We'll be
think
looking
I'm
for
going to
you.
plan on that. And I'll look for that donation bucket, too. I'm always happy to do that. Way to go.
appreciate it.
And may you have many, many more
Thank you.
productions in the future. And may this one go the best ever.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes. Now, break a leg. And thank you for watching us here on Local Point on VTV Channel 6. This program is also available on our website, www.vernal.tv. Please join us next time.